There's something mythic about a fall Sunday in America. The air is crisp, the smell of tailgate grill fills the parking lots, and millions gather around glowing screens for a modern ritual. Football. But before the billion-dollar stadiums, before the halftime shows, and before the Super Bowl became a national holiday, there was chaos. A game born in the mud and blood of 19th century college fields. A sport that evolved from chaos to order, from scrappy college brawls to the crown jewel of American athletics. This is the story of American football. It began in the late 1800s on ivy-covered campuses like Princeton, Yale, and Harvard. But this wasn't the football we know today. It was a brutal hybrid between rugby and soccer, a violent scrum of young men colliding with little more than the pride on the line. In 1869, Rutgers and Princeton faced off in what many call the first intercollegiate football game. The final score, Rutgers 6, Princeton 4. No helmets, no pads, just chaos. But as the game spread, so did the danger. In the early 1900s, football was deadly. Players suffered broken bones, concussions, even fatalities. In 1905 alone, 19 players died on the field. The outcry reached the White House. President Theodore Roosevelt, an avid sportsman himself, demanded reform or the sport would be banned. So in 1906, the game changed forever. The forward pass was legalized. A revolutionary idea that opened up the field, made football less of a melee and more of a strategy. And from those reforms, a modern football began to take shape. College football was king, but in small towns and industrial cities across America, another version of the game was rising. In 1920, in a car dealership in Canton, Ohio, representatives from 14 teams met to form a league, the American Professional Football Association, later renamed the NFL, or the National Football League. Back then, teams like the Akron Pros, Dayton Triangles, and Decatur Staleys, the team that would later become the Chicago Bears, battled in front of a few thousand fans on muddy fields. Players made as little as $50 a game, often working full-time jobs during the week. It wasn't glamorous, but it was grit. One man rose above the rest. Red Grange, the galloping ghost from Illinois. When he joined the Chicago Bears in 1925, fans flooded stadiums by tens of thousands. Football was no longer a niche pastime, it was becoming a spectacle. World War II had threatened to stop professional sports, but football endured. Teams merged due to player shortages. The Pittsburgh Steelers and Philadelphia Eagles combined to form the Steagles. When soldiers came home, they brought with them a hunger for entertainment, and football delivered. In 1946, a new rival appeared, the All-American Football Conference. It introduced new teams, new ideas, and new stars. One of them, the Cleveland Browns, led by visionary coach Paul Brown, would forever change the game. Brown pioneered playbooks, film study, and modern coaching systems. His innovations from face masks to radio communication reshaped football into the highly strategic sport it is today. When the Browns joined the NFL in 1950, their dominance made it clear. The game was evolving fast. Then came television and everything changed. Sunday afternoons became appointment viewing. The NFL realized it wasn't just selling a sport, it was selling drama, heroes, and legends. Stars like Johnny Unitas, Bart Starr, and Jim Brown became household names. But competition was brewing. In 1960, the American Football League burst onto the scene, offering flashier players and rival teams like the Kansas City Chiefs, Buffalo Bills, and Oakland Raiders. The rivalry ignited a football arms race until 1970, when the two leagues merged under one banner. And to celebrate the unity, they created one game to decide it all: the Super Bowl. From the moment Joe Namath guaranteed victory in Super Bowl III, the game exploded in popularity. The 1970s saw dynasties rise. The Steel Curtain of Pittsburgh, the Dolphins' perfect season, and the Cowboys' America's team legacy. By the 1980s, the NFL had become a cultural force. Players like Joe Montana, Jerry Rice, Walter Payton, and Lawrence Taylor transformed football into a national obsession. Television deals brought billions. Monday Night Football became a ritual. The halftime show became a global stage. And then came 1993, Michael Jackson's halftime performance, watched by over 90 million households. The Super Bowl was no longer just a game. It was the American event. 21st century ushered in a new age of athleticism, technology, and controversy. Teams embraced analytics, stadiums became futuristic cathedrals, and new legends were born. Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, Ray Lewis, Aaron Rodgers, Patrick Mahomes, names etched into the fabric of the sport. But it wasn't all triumph. Concussions, player safety, and off-field issues forced America to confront football's darker side once again. Yet through it all, the love for the game endured, because football isn't just about yards and touchdowns. It's about unity, struggle, and moments that make time stand still. But every autumn, from high school bleachers to colossal stadiums, football continues to capture something deeply human. The desire to compete, to belong, to rise when you've been knocked down. It's a game that began in chaos, and now it's become a national heartbeat. A story written in grass stains, glory, and grit. This is more than a sport. It's America's game.